When I first found out I was pregnant, I actually did a 5K that day, and I was like getting to the healthiest point that I could be, and I was running every day and all that stuff. But then I just still didn't feel right, and so I went and got the test, and for sure that's what it was. I was pregnant, and we were so excited. It just was an amazing, amazing pregnancy. One night I was playing with him, and he was on my lap, and he was just moving around, and like when he moved a certain way on his belly, I could see that there was a lump, and it was pretty hard and firm. And so I asked my husband to come over, and I said, have you seen this? And I'm like, what do you think it is? And he was like, oh, it is, but it doesn't seem like it hurts him. And I was like, well, I'm gonna call first thing in the morning to get him seen. It was the nurse practitioner that actually saw him that day. And she looked at him and she examined him, and she was just, staying calm or whatever. She was like, can I have another doctor come and look at him? And after that, they went out and they spoke, and they came back in and they were like, we just called Stormont Vale, and we have a room ready for you, and he needs to go and get some more tests done. And then they did the ultrasound, and it came back showing that the mass was so big they couldn't even see the kidney. And so from there, we knew that it was a mass. We knew that it was where the kidney was. We didn't know anything else. And then we waited, and then it would towards the end of the night, Dr. Othman came in, and just so bubbly and smiley. The first thing that I did was I looked at her badge, and then I saw a pediatric oncologist, and my heart just sank because I already knew. And she was just like, your son has a mass or a tumor that's really, really big, and it is coming from the kidney, and she believes that it's Wilms' tumor. But she was like, I know you're not going to hear anything else that I say after this, that your son has a tumor. So take the time, cry, do what you got to do, and then we'll continue the conversation. And I just broke down. Elliot is such a happy baby, And he just looked up at us and he smiled, the biggest smile. It's like he was saying, it's gonna be okay, And I took a picture, and that's what kept me from not breaking down while waiting 8 hours. But then after the surgery was done, the doctor came and got us, and he was like, your son had a pretty big tumor. It was the size of a cantaloupe. Pathology got back to us, and they said yes, it was cancerous. And we're like, okay, what are the next steps? And Dr. Othman was like, okay, well, we got the surgery, the tumor's out. Now we have to do radiation and chemo. He did the chemo the first day, and I could not be in the room. I had to leave, and I was just bawling because I'm like, how can I just stand there just watching them, I know that it's good for the cancer, but then it's not good for him. So that was pretty hard. But now that he's all done, he's gonna be 1 tomorrow, actually, and I can't believe it. He's just amazing, just going through all of this and being a happy baby. It's a journey, and the road is like, you just don't know what's gonna happen. But we believe that everything is for the best. And one day he'll hear his story and he'll know about it, and he'll be like, wow, that was truly amazing that I got through it and my parents got through it.
That's Elliot, and Were there any questions for our speakers? Vice President Carmelli.
Yeah, how short are you guys of your goal? Like, how much do you have left to fundraise for this year?
Yeah, so this year, right now, we are at 58 participants and we want to get to 200. And so if we hit 200 and every person raises like $100, that's our 20,000 goal. And right now we're at $3,663. And so we're short. We're still looking for donations. We're still looking for people, but ultimately, like, we want to help the kids in our backyard. So by you registering, you fundraising, we're helping kids like Elliot, Max, Juliana, things like that. So truthfully, great cause, but we are still short of our goal. But Ollie, Jansen, Anna, Jalen, everybody's there. So all our friends are there to celebrate. So we'd love to see you guys there.
Intern Billman.
So actually, our platform is Donor Drive, and so most of the donations I've gotten so far are through Venmo, and so Donor Drive updated, and you can take those donations directly from Venmo and put it on your donations page. But if it is cash or something like that, we can send that right to the hospital too.
Further questions? All right.
What is the Venmo for that?
So honestly, right now we don't have like a certain Venmo for K-State, but like if you created your own page, you would have them Venmo you, but then you would directly. But if you go directly like to that link or our K-State Dance Marathon page, like you can donate right there through credit card or Venmo.
Okay, thank you.
That gave me a question. If people were to Venmo you directly, do you set up the registration and put up?
I set up your registration.
Yeah.
But typically it's right through the link, but I can register you guys too.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you guys so much for coming. Our next open period speakers tonight are with National Panhellenic Council. Are they here? Okay, then we'll move on to our fourth open period speaker, which is Bill Spiegel from Recycling.
I've been doing this with the student government for years, and this is our tradition that we're going to pull out the Big 12 champions again for WrestleMania. Here we go. I don't do this at all. We do it together as a team. As we go, I mean, that's it. And next slide, as you can see, we made it so simple. Recycle. I mean, there's bins everywhere in the buildings, outside, in the grounds, behind the dorms, residence halls. There's common ways to recycle. So if you can't find a way to do it, you contact me at the end. We'll make a way to do it. Next slide, please. That's where our numbers are last year. Every year we go up in recycling. I know everybody doesn't know these little things, but single stream is SS, e-waste, pallets, glass, soil. But you can see the student involvement. 2.5 million pounds last year. That's outstanding. You know what I mean? But it's a teamwork. Next slide, please. There's where we come to get, right there. Before I started, we were number 226. Last year we finished 54. That's where we got to be. Now, we can beat KU. KU doesn't even participate in this in the last 6 years. Just forget that market. I mean, you know, they sold me lunch 6 years ago that they didn't pay for. But our biggest competition is down at the University of Texas. They have a student population of about, I think, 60, 70,000, but we beat them the last several years. And it's great. I mean, it's a little thing. But, that's where it's at. 6 out of 7 years. And the year that I lost, I'll be honest with you, the deadline on the last day to put it in is 3 o'clock. Well, that year, I put it in at 2:30. Everybody sees the numbers. I was like, I learned my lesson. I wait till 2:59 and I need to get it. I'm right on the money. That's how they came up with my numbers to be. You know, it's just but competition. your dorms, your fraternities, your sororities. I have a recycling center that's right behind Weber Hall. I have bins out there. I have glass bins. Just bring it. That's all you do. Just let me know. Okay? Next slide, please. We all work together to make this done. Let's win it again. Now, I'm not the greatest person ever, but I will put this, if you can hold this by the microphone. I'll be on the radios as a public broadcasting. Yeah, I went down to K-Man down on in Manhattan. I'll be on K-Man, K-Rock, Hot Country, and up here at K-State. I have 4 radio commercials. They're 15 seconds long. I'm not sure how people listen to radio stations anymore, but it's word, it's advertising. Everybody goes, why do you do advertising? Well, students told me about it. But it's just I learned and I listen. But I can put on radio, I can put flyers up, and I can put banners up. But word of mouth is the best advertising ever. You know what I mean? Word gets out everywhere. So I'm just gonna play one commercial right now, and I hope I'm not as savvy as you guys. K-State Wildcats. I can't. Hold on. Here we go. I'll do this one last time, then I'll be out the door.
Hello, K-State Wildcats. Let's wake up and shake up in Recyclemania 2019 during the months of February and March by being the Big 12 winners again. Teamwork is hard work, but we are all one when it's done. K-State.
Now. We all work together, and I just expect to be a Big 12 winner again this year. And if you have any questions, they have my slides, all my information on it. Give me a call, shoot me an email. And thank you very much, and we'll be winners again.
Any questions for our speaker? Senator Koger.
So when it said was that 54th in the nation?
Out of the 200 schools that applied for it, yes.
And so all the other Big 12 teams were below 50?
Oh, below me, yes. Yes. I mean, a lot of people don't like to it. Just give you let you know. And I don't want to take up too much of your time because we only got 200 more slides. But no, recycling is just like anything else right now, up and down market. You know what I mean? With tariffs and it's all political. But we are one of the very few fortunate colleges that are not paying to get rid of recycling. Because right now, you get rid of cardboard, I make money on everything. We all make money. But when everybody commingles their stuff together, you got to pay somebody to separate it. Right now, we are fortunate because I co-partnered with Fort Riley, which is 11 miles away, and they sort ours free. So we can recycle all we want. We take roughly 3,000 pounds there a day. We don't pay to distribute it. It's sorted. I mean, like every other college, KU, they're paying like $80 a ton to sort recycling. University of West Virginia is paying $70. All of it, most of the colleges are, but we are fortunate.
We're going to win Recyclemania.
It just, I want to keep, you know what? It keeps the cost down low where it doesn't cost the university. But as long as we keep things moving in the right direction, I mean, that's what we're all here for. I don't win it. When I talked to President Myers 2 weeks ago, he goes, Bill, how'd you do it? I said, sir, I didn't do it. He goes, what are you talking about? I'm talking about it. We did it. Teamwork. And I have another commercial. Teamwork is hard work. We're all one.
Senator Snyder.
I always need volunteers. Not just for Recyclemania, but during the whole school year. You know what I mean? We have a great program going on right now with the fraternity. We do a waste audit every Sunday, every other Sunday. We pick a building and we find out who's doing what and how can we improve that building's waste and recycling reduction program. Yeah, so we do. Get a hold of me and I can link you up or get with Lane right there. He's your sustainability director. He's my point of contact here. We get all the volunteers we need.
Further questions? All right, seeing none, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Right, we'll now move into approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Intern Billman. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Moving into announcements for this week. First is a reminder about the JCPenney Professional Attire Night. The first 20 students in line with a valid ID will receive a $25 JCPenney gift card. That's Sunday, February 9th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. Second, the application for Snyder Leadership Legacy Fellows are now being accepted. It's a non-credit program open to all majors and offered at no cost to students. Participants will spend their year developing their leadership through service learning activities with the Manhattan Community Professional Development Workshops, one-on-one peer coaching, and more. These applications close on Friday, February 21st at noon, and the link to apply is in the agenda. Proxies for the week are Beasley for Lumchek, Booz for Al Abdullah, Clements for Seidel, Glasscock for Cruz, Kidd for Cox, Rodriguez for Gillespie, and not included because it was submitted early is Hines for Kirkbrand. And SGA member of the week is intern Blake Phillips for his vast service as an SGA intern, including invaluable contributions to the EOF committee, tuition and fee strategies committee, and filling in as secretary tonight. The quote of the week is, "There's no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit." Ronald Reagan, it was his birthday today. Moving into commendations, is there a motion to consider Bill 59? Chair Booz. It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 15, or Resolution 59. Will the author please come forward?
All right, so this is a commendation to the Kansas State University head football coach, Chris Kleiman. Chris Kleiman was named the 35th head football coach of the Kansas State University on November 10th, 2018. Whereas in his first season coaching the Wildcats, Kleiman led the team to an overall record of 8-4 in the regular season, whereas the Wildcats finished 5-4 in the Big 12 Conference, whereas the Wildcats tied for third overall in the Big 12 Conference after being projected to finish 9th. Whereas the Wildcats finished the season with an 8-5 record overall, whereas the Wildcats successfully beat the University of Kansas 38-10 to win the Governor's Cup for the third year in a row. Yeah. Whereas in his first year, Coach Kleiman also led the Wildcats to become bowl eligible, whereas Chris Kleiman won more games than any other first-year head coach in K-State football's program history. Be enacted that Section 1, the Kansas State University Student Governing Association, KSU-SGA, commends Coach Kleiman and his outstanding success in his first year coaching the Wildcats in a regular season. Section 2, KSU-SGA also commends the outstanding work done by the K-State football players, coaches, staff, and K-State athletics. Whereas Section 2, upon passage from the Student Senate and signature by the student body president, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to the Kansas State University head football coach Chris Kleiman, K-State athletics director Gene Taylor, and Kansas State University president Richard B. Myers.
Are there any questions or corrections for the author beyond the bill versus resolution changes? Senator Coger.
So K-State's actually beat K-11 years.
So we're going to do 11 years in a row.
Okay, further questions or corrections? Chair Orzechowski. Yes.
Sure.
Senator Beasley.
We'll add it. Sounds good.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
Further questions or corrections? All right, seeing none, is there a motion on Resolution 59? Senator Coger.
I move to pass Bill 59 unanimously.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 59 unanimously. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Resolution 59 is approved. Right, next we have approval of appointments. Is there a motion to consider Resolution 64? Senator Beasley. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 64. Will the author please come forward?
So this is for the approval of student-centered tuition enhancement committee members. So by Hannah Heatherman, Cy Mari, and Jensen Penny. So the student-centered tuition enhancements (SCTE) committee allocates approximately $700,000 in funding for seed money used for the creation and implementation of new programs/initiatives that will benefit the student body. The Speaker of the Student Senate appoints 6 members to this position, representing different colleges and different standing committees. The Student Body President appoints 4 at-large members representing different campus constituencies. Hannah Heatherman, the Speaker of the Student Senate, nominated Cameron Koger, Nathan King, Elizabeth Seidel, Trey Coleman, Marcus Kidd, Evangelina Gallardo, and for this position, and whereas Jensen Penny, the Student Body President, nominated Angelina Kay, Maggie Jequez, Ethan Hammond, and Blake Phillips for this position. Be it resolved that these individuals be approved for the SCTE committee.
Are there any questions or corrections for the author? Senator Coleman. We got that both places. Further questions or corrections? All right, seeing none, is there a motion on Resolution 64? Senator Beasley. It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 64 unanimously. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Resolution 64 is approved. Moving into committee chair reports, are there any committee chairs that would like to give a report? All right, seeing none, are there any directors who would like to give a report? Elections Commissioner Spellman.
Everyone. So I just wanted to kind of share an update for elections, including some important dates that are coming up rather quickly. So to start, the general election filing deadline ends tomorrow at 4 p.m. So if you are interested in running for Senate or Union Governing Board, student publications, or you know someone that is, definitely make sure they go to CASIS and fill out that form. That link is also available on the SJ Elections website. So you can tell them to go there. Just click on the link, fill out the form. It takes a minute. So that is 4 p.m. tomorrow. The other dates that I wanted to talk about were the mandatory meetings. This year, rather than having 2 mandatory meetings, there are now 4 opportunities. So next Monday at 4 p.m., we'll have the first mandatory meeting. That's going to be here in Wildcat Chamber. And then Tuesday, there were 3 opportunities. So we will actually be moving over to Hale Library in one of the collaboration rooms. That room number is 107, but the times for that is 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and 4 p.m. So it's a little bit smaller of a room, so you're interested in coming, get there preferably earlier rather than later. But we wanted to expand the opportunities for times, just to be a little bit more flexible with everyone's schedule. The other big dates, just to kind of touch on these lastly, were the primary election. So the primary election starts on Tuesday at noon and ends Wednesday at 6 p.m. The general election will be 2 weeks after that. So at the very end of February, I'll come up here and give a reminder, but tell everyone to vote just generally. Yes, I think that's all the updates I have. I stand for questions.
Are there any questions for Elections Commissioner Spellman? All right, seeing none, are there any further director's reports? Chief of Staff Polson.
I just have a quick one. You may have noticed in the back left-hand side, there's some fun sticky notes with crayon on them. And I know some people are always like, what does cabinet actually do? This is what we do. So tonight in our meeting, we revisited platforms from Jansen and Ollie's campaign and things we wanted to get done this year, and went through and talked about what has been completed and everything that we're excited to keep working on. So if you're interested to see what cabinet's been up to, have a look at it after Senate tonight. Thanks.
Are there any further director's reports? All right, seeing none, there's, Vice President Carmelli.
I have a couple of updates from me, Jansen, and some people in our cabinet as well. So one of the things is just a quick update on Big 12 on the Hill. Madison has been planning that for a while. Just a quick update. We've been reaching out to legislators and senators, trying to get meetings scheduled with them. Those are underway now. The dates for the conference are the 23rd through the 27th, so it's coming up pretty soon. A couple of the big talking points we have with the legislators when we go to meet with them is one, just higher education affordability altogether, trying to get more funding, but more so within that, simplifying the process of the FAFSA, and then also upping the Pell Grant, like the maximum that you can get if you are in need of it, as well as mental wellness and mental well-being, and then also touching on Title IX as well. Another big thing happening tomorrow is the Spirit program. So for those of you that don't know, the Spirit program is put on by the Department of Justice. It'll be coming to K-State tomorrow. There's going to be about 60 people from the main community, students, professors, just all different groups around campus. I'm trying to get as many different demographics as possible in that room to kind of get together, see what kind of issues they can identify happening in our campus, also in Manhattan, and trying to create action items to create solutions for those. So that'll be happening tomorrow. We'll give you another update about that after it's done. Another thing happening is Safe Ride, our current contract that Kelly and CSI has been working on. They have gotten out of that one, and now they're looking for a new, I guess, partnership to take over Safe Ride. They saw like low utilization by the previous people, so they're now evaluating and what they can use that would be better for the cost of students as well as the utilization to students. So if you have more questions about that, you could definitely ask Kelly. They're looking at different options right now. She could also help you out with that as well. E-scooters has been going on. So over winter break, they sent out RFPs to companies that could then apply to try and get their e-scooters on campus. We got all applications back, and we got 6 different companies that are interested in coming to with their e-scooters. And we gave them a long list of criteria to meet. So from there, we're now going to review those RFPs, try and identify which one works best for students' needs and which one would be best for our campus. And we'll keep you posted more as we continue to go through that process. And the last thing is the A program, the thing that all freshmen do when they come into K-State, and like the smaller version that you do every summer, that's required by the state, but that also should be general knowledge that everybody should be receiving and knowing. They're looking for a new program now, and they're down to 2 finalists. They're moving away from the old one just because they want something that's more inclusive, holistic, and just more up to date with what's going on now, what we need to be touching on with new students coming into college, as well as everybody that is continuing on through college. And that is all I have. Does anybody have questions?
Are there any questions for Vice President Carmelli?
Yeah, that's a great question. So some of the things that they required that the e-scooters who applied be able to do is, one, control speeds, just because in heavily populated areas like the Quad or something, we don't want people zipping by on 15 miles an hour where they will take somebody out. That would not be good, and that would result in a lawsuit. So somebody who can control those speeds, but also someone who would be able to control parking. So someone who would be willing to come in, paint designated parking spots, and be able to geofence it so that unless a student or whoever's riding it does not return it to a designated parking spot, they'll be continued to be charged for it. That way that there's not just e-scooters lying around. Then also with that, we're working with the city on this because the city of Manhattan as a whole is also looking for e-scooters. So we want to make sure that whoever we select, they will also be selecting, so that, while you're on campus, you don't ride one, but then if you need to hop off campus, you would have to get off, get on the other company scooter and then get on. So those are some of the bigger criterias. But then also once we look into it, we're just going to look at what would be the best option for students, price-wise, safety-wise, and which would just be the easiest to use for anybody to ride it.
Further questions? Senator Koger.
Yeah, so they want to have one selected by March 1st, and then hopefully have it implemented on by like mid-April. So their goal for that is like get it like right before school ends, so everybody like kind of gets to like mess around with them, gets used to them, but then like, you know, it'll be more natural going into that. To be completely honest, that's a pretty tight deadline. I think more accurately, it'd be more accurate if they were here like right around orientation, after school ends, beginning of summer. They'd be implemented, and then they'd be here all summer. And hopefully, when students come back, they'll kind of already be accustomed to them, and hopefully, there won't be any issues once they get here.
Further questions? Senator Hamlin.
I'm going to defer that one to President Penny.
Yeah, so all that is listed in the RFP. What a lot of places will do, like the company Bird, like says they like migrate all their scooters to like stay on brand, and so they will take all or some of them off campus based on like demand and what they've done at different places, whether that's OSU and different campuses. So a lot of them will come off campus, but there should still be a presence for these scooters during the winter months as well.
Further questions? Senator Beasley.
You know, I haven't read the RFPs yet, but maybe we could negotiate it out. But also, don't hold me to that, because a lot of these companies recycle them and migrate them, like Jansen would say, and I don't know if other locations would like purple scooters as much as we would.
Further questions? Senator Lomchik.
Yeah, so Safe Ride won't be leaving K-State. Just the current program and the cost it was resulting in students to pay in your student fees and your privilege fee. It wasn't really getting the utilization they had hoped for compared to the cost you were paying. So they're not getting rid of Safe Ride. They're looking for a new program. So Safe Ride will still be available to all students who need it for late nights, wherever they may be around campus on one of those routes. They're just going to look for a different provider to contract with that'll be hopefully have a better tactic to make sure students are using it, opposed to like Uber, Lyft, or something that you'd have to be paying even more for, and just, you know, get better usage from students.
Further questions? Senator King.
How many companies did you say we were like looking at to bring scooters on campus?
So 6 submitted RFPs. Yeah.
Granted.
And how, like, what's the like average of like the cost it is for like, I don't know how it is it per mile, or like what is that average kind of those 6?
Yeah, so usually the way most scooter companies work is like it's like $1 to start it up, and then it's like 15 cents a minute or something. What we're looking for is something similar to like Oklahoma State or like another kind of comparable school that has gotten a discount with a lot of the companies that they've been licensed through. So some of them do like maybe like 50 cents to start and like 10 cents a minute or something. But we're looking for a deduced cost for anybody who signs up with an account through like a college student ID to try and keep it more affordable for students who'd be using them.
Further questions? Senator Beasley.
The Spirit program will be running from 8 to 2 tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure it's like invite only just because of like the limited seating and like the people there. So if you're in it, you should have gotten an email. Hopefully you're there. If you get it, I'll be happy to see you all there.
Further questions? All right, seeing none, that was time anyway. So moving on to minor allocations, unless there's another director's report. Good. Okay. For minor allocations, we have Bill 71, fiscal year 20 travel allocation to the K-State Association for Computing Machinery. Is there a motion to approve the minor allocations? Senator Beasley. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minor allocations. Are there any all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Right, the minor allocations are approved. Moving into final action, will the author of Bill 72 please come forward? Chair Riffle? Have any changes been made? No changes been made. You have. Right, you have first right to debate.
Yeah, based mainly on utilization of funds that we've been giving them. So in short, hello, awesome. So in short, in total, we would be looking at cutting around 525 cents, which is about a 10.5% cut. But effectively, with the change to where the money for multicultural orgs is coming from, this would be effectively a $57,000, 525 cent cut or savings to students in the next year. Essentially, that's all I have. I kind of went over all of it last week. Any questions?
Are there any questions for our speaker? Senator Belina.
Mhm.
My specific question is actually to graduate council. Have they communicated you about, like, I have seen that the utilization is at almost 100%. In some cases, it's around 90 something, and mostly 100%. Have they not asked you to increase the budget like that?
Yeah, so the interesting thing about student activity fee is that that is overseen by the SGA treasurer. So with a typical entity that comes through privilege fee for review, they're directly coming in, giving a presentation like that. With student activity fee, since it's multiple smaller entities kind of grouped together in this one fee, that is the duty of the SGA treasurer. So he is the one who went through to each group under this bill and did that process as far as meeting with them, determining what the request is, and then he brought that to us, to the privilege fee committee, and basically presented those requests that he gathered to our committee. If that answers your question. Yes, so they requested a continuance. Nope, just a base continuance on what they had.
Further questions? All right, seeing none, is there any debate in the negative? Further debate in the positive? Any debate at all? All right, seeing none, we'll now move into a roll call vote on Bill 72.
All right. Al Abdullah? Yes, Almadani? Yes. Beasley?
Yes.
Belina? Yes. Betancourt? Yes. Bond? Yes. Booz? Yes. Bowers? Yes. Brentsey? Yes. Burke? Yes. Carlson? Yes. Carr? Yes. Clark? Yes. Clements? Coggeshall? Colasico? Cruz? Dowd? Frederick?
Yes.
Gallardo? Gillespie? Glasscock? Hamlin? Hines? Huffman? Javin? Jonak, Kelly, Kerprin, Kidd, King, Koger, Kurzweil, Coleman, Lomshek, Lux, Matos, Meinhardt, Moore, Oshner, Orzakowski, Pelton, Peyton, Phillips, Rivera, Rodriguez, Reichert, Seidel, Slechter, Smith, Snyder Ben, Snyder Blaine, Spellman, Wallace, Ward Kelly, Ward Shalen, Watkins, Whitmer, and Zimmerman. Okay. And Bill 72 passes 48 to 0 to 0.
Right, we'll now move into final action on Bill 73. Will the author please come forward? Have any changes been made?
No changes have been made.
First right to debate.
Awesome. I'm back. Not a lot to say about this one. Essentially, this is just removing a section out of the student activity fee funding regulations section in the statutes because we are adding that into the actual privilege fee contract. And just kind of going back over the reason why we're doing that is essentially because the way it sits now is since it's in two separate parts of our statutes, the funding number in the fee regulations and the actual allocation in the contract, we can't really change how much we allocate to multicultural orgs unless we go in and actually change what it says in a different chapter of the statute. So this just kind of eases that process and is something we have done with other groups underneath this fee.
Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, is there any debate in the negative? Any debate in the positive? Any debate at all? Right, seeing none, we'll now proceed to a roll call vote on Bill 73.
Al Abdullah, Almadani. Gotcha. Beasley. Belina. Betancourt. Bond. Booz. Bowers. Brincy. Burke. Carlson. Carr. Clark. Clements. Coggeshall. Colasico. Cruz. Dowd. Frederick. Gallardo. Gillespie. Glasscock. Hamlin. Hines. Huffman. Jabin. Jonak. Kelly. Kerprin. Kidd. King. Koger. Kurzweil. Coleman. Lomshek. Lux. Matos. Meinhardt. Moore. Oshner. Orzakowski. Pelton. Peyton. Phillips. Rivera. Rodriguez. Reichert. Seidel. Slechter. Smith. Snyder Ben. Snyder Blaine. Spellman. Wallace. Ward Kelly. Ward Shalen. Watkins. Whitmer. And Zimmerman. And Bill 73 passes 47 to 0 to 0.
Okay, moving into Bill 74, will the author please come forward? Have any changes been made?
No.
All right, you have first right to debate.
So this is the allocation of sports clubs fund to the swim and dive club. So basically, they're having the opportunity to go to nationals, and every year during the sports club allocation, we give them the opportunity to basically have a shot at the reserve funds if they go to nationals. So we're just going to put some money that's just sitting in an account to some actual use. So vote yes.
Right, any questions for the author? All right, seeing none, is there any debate in the negative? Any debate in the positive? Is there any debate at all? All right, seeing none, we'll now move into a roll call vote on Bill 74 unless there's a motion to bulk that with 75. Senator Oxner. Right, it's been moved and seconded to bulk roll call bills 74 and 75. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right, bills 74 and 75 will be bulk roll called. Will the author of bill 75 please come forward?
All right, so no changes on this one. And then, so this is the tribal allocation to the Hispanic American Leadership Organization. So they'll be sending 13 students down to the United States Hispanic Leadership Institute Conference in Chicago. It'll be a really great opportunity for them to meet different leaders in their respective fields and also just to have an opportunity to meet a lot of amazing speakers. So we allocate them $1,000.
Right, are there any questions for the author? Seeing none, any debate in the negative? Any debate at all? Right, we'll proceed to move into a bulk roll call on bills 74 and 75. Reminder, that's yes to all.
All right. Al Abdullah? Yes to vote by proxy. Al Madani? Yes to all. Beasley? Yes to vote. Belina? Yes to all. Betancourt? Bond? Yes to all. Booz? Yes to vote. Bowers? Yes to all. Brentsey? Yes to all. Burke? Yes to all. Carlson? Yes to all. Carr? Yes to all. Clark? Yes to all. Clements? Coggeshall? Yes to all. Colosico? Cruz? Yes by proxy. Dowd? Yes to all. Frederick? Yes to all. Gallardo? Yes to all. Gillespie? Yes to all by proxy. Glasscock? Yes to all. Hamlin? Yes to all. Hines? Yes to all. Huffman? Yes to all. Jabin? Yes to all. Jonak? Kelly? Yes to all. Kirprin? Yes to all by proxy. Kidd? Yes to all. King? Yes to all. Koger? Yes to all. Kurzweil? Yes to all. Coleman? Yes to all. Lomchek? Yes to all. Lux? Yes to all. Matos? Mindhart? Yes to all. Moore? Yes to all. Oshner? Yes to all. Orzakowski? Yes to all. Pelton? Yes to all. Peyton? Yes to all. Phillips? Yes to all. Rivera? Rodriguez? Yes to the first one, abstain. Okay. Reichert? Seidel? Slechter? Smith? Snyder Ben? Snyder Blaine? Spellman? Wallace? Ward Kelly? Ward Shalen? Watkins? Whitmer? And Zimmerman. All right, and Bill 74 passes 47 to 0 to 0, and Bill 75 passes 46 to 0 to 1.
Right, will the author of Resolution 48, Resolution 48, please come forward. Have any changes been made?
Yes. There was a change made on line 15 with a typo. It was just, we read it wrong from the Excel sheet when we were writing the whereas clause, as well as We added like final funding for DMSA after we figured that out with the committee. And then we had 2 more typos just when we were reading it over from the Excel sheet as well.
Right. You have first right to debate.
So this is the final EOF legislation after we went back and opened it up for appeals from all the entities if they wish to appeal what they originally got. We got 1 appeal. It was from DMSA. So the committee met 2 weeks ago, maybe, or sorry, a week or 2 ago. I don't remember the exact date. They decided that after they got the additional information, their hesitations from initially were alleviated, and they decided to fully fund DMSA. And then still, because of our tight budgetary restraints, they cut 3 different proposals that were originally allocated $12,890 for 12-month GRA positions down to 9-month GRA positions. So they only got $98.90 just so we could stick within that budget still.
Right. Are there any questions for the speaker? Senator Rodriguez.
You're welcome.
All right. Any further questions or anything? All right. Seeing none, is there any debate in the negative? Debate in the positive? Any further debate at all? Right. Seeing none, since it's a resolution, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Right. Resolution 48 is approved. Okay, will the author of Resolution 63 please come forward? Have any changes been made?
They're not on the current copy, but we added the people, or we're going to add the people who want to be added, and then also add the recipient, the vice provost for student success, I believe. So other than that, no changes have been made.
First right to debate.
All right. So this is the culmination of a lot of work from me and a lot of the other people listed on the resolution. I mean, so when I came to K-State, I walked into a room for the computer science seminar, CIS 15, and that wasn't a very good seminar, but for a lot of reasons, but one of them was the use of Top Hat. And so, you know, I decided to buy the 4-year or the 5-year, I think, license because I was like, I don't know when I'm going to have to use this. And so I might as well be prepared. But some people may not have that luxury. And just from my irks, my problems with Top Hat, from my concerns for other people who had to use it, and other people noticing that they disliked Top Hat and other programs like this. When I ran for Senate, this was one of the things I platformed on, passing, doing something about these programs to demonstrate that students generally dislike them and would generally prefer that professors use Canvas overall. And so I got together with a group of people who felt the same way in Senate after election. For instance, Creighton is in that group. And then I also coordinated with Sadie Polson and the Academic Affairs Director, Alex Hornig. I think I said her last name correctly. I'm sorry if I did not. To put together the survey that is mentioned in this resolution. And as always, I have the survey data. If anyone has any questions, please let me know after the speech. And so the survey presented in a neutral manner after we got a result, all of the results back. It demonstrated what I believed and what all of us in the group believed, is that students overwhelmingly do not prefer to use these programs. Instead, they'd prefer to use the programs that are already provided to them, paid for by the university, and would prefer that professors did the same. And so we put this together. And now here we are. So I would urge an affirmative vote to send, a message and to rededicate ourselves to trying to improve the affordability of textbooks, of these programs, and of anything else that students face. So please vote affirmative. Thank you.
there any questions for the author? Senator Carr.
No, I mean, I got that question I got that question last time, and I completely expect to get that question because, yeah, I mean, we don't have very much power over this area, but we have meetings with administrators. We can have the power to send this to all of the people listed in the resolution, which includes the president, the provost, the director of IT, the vice provost for student success, all that. Like, we can take a stand here, and that hopefully, will lead to teachers saying, hey, I don't know if this is the best platform because I know that my students are going to dislike it, as opposed to using Canvas. And so, no, we can't do anything directly, but I still think it's worth passing.
Further questions? Senator Koger.
I think that was in the survey actually, and it wasn't used by too many people. So like that would be included in the other platforms. Yeah, I mean I believe it was included in the survey. So actually I could check that.
I actually believe that's a McGraw-Hill Connect sub-platform. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it pulled up right now. It is.
Yeah, and only about 10 people of 150-ish reported that they had to buy it. So, anyway.
Further questions? Senator King.
So following the passage of this resolution, like what are your next steps? Kind of like really kind of making it go across the finish line and actually getting some change.
Right. So one of the things that I intend to continue to do is work with the Open Alternative Textbook Program. I was invited by Alex to their board meeting where they were deciding how to give out grants, and I participated in that process. I intend to continue participating in that process, and then I also really intend to, if somebody wants to meet with me, I will definitely meet with them and express our concerns and listen to their concerns about it. I don't have more concrete plans, but if you have suggestions for what I should do, please let me know, because I will be continuing to work on this moving forward.
Can I add something for you? Andrew is going with me to Faculty Senate next week, too.
Oh, yeah, there is that. Forgot about that.
Further questions? Senator Beasley.
No, they have not. I mean, the bill contains quite a bit of the results of the survey. I was basically thinking that if they wanted more information, they could contact me and get the rest of the data.
Further questions? All right. Seeing none, is there any debate in the negative? Debate in the positive? Any further debate at all? Right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving Resolution 63, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right, and with that, Resolution 63 passes by voice vote. Moving into introduction of minor allocations, Bill 76, on-campus allocation to Dance Marathon. They requested $650, were recommended $650. Moving into introduction of legislation, is there a motion to consider Bill 77? Senator Beasley. It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 77. Will the author please come forward? Caucus Leader Dowd. It's been moved and seconded to allow the author to summarize Bill 77, 78, 79. Are there any objections? Right, seeing none, you may summarize.
All right, the Kansas State Early Music Society has taken full advantage of our committee and our funding. So on March 5th, the Kansas State Early Music Society is hoping to host Dr. Bill Hudson, where he will hold a workshop and will be presenting to students. And so we're just asking to fund, just asking to fund his fees for his travel and expenses.
Right, are there any questions or corrections for the author? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to consider Bill 78? Caucus Leader Glasscock. It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 78. You got it?
All right. And so in Bill 78, the Early Music Society is looking to hold another entertainer and Timberlake on campus at McCain Auditorium on March 27th and 28th. And so they're hoping to not only have promotional expenses to promote her, but also her fees as well.
Right, any questions or corrections for the author? Right, seeing none, is there a motion to consider Bill 79? Senator Beasley. It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 79.
All right. Last but not least, they're holding, or the Early Music Society is holding the official Go Baroque workshop, which will be held next October 3rd and 4th in McCain Auditorium, where they will be seeking funds for their speaker, Leila Breithaupt, and where she will be sharing her experience in the Baroque area of music. And so they're seeking funds for her travel and expenses as well.
Right, any questions or corrections for the author? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to consider Resolution 65? Intern Boatman. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 65. Will the author please come forward? Senator Oxner. It's been moved and seconded that the author be allowed to summarize. Are there any objections? All right, seeing none, you all may summarize.
Thank you. Okay. So you're getting a quick handout that is a little bit more specific towards Cats Covered, but I am still going to read through all the whereas clauses and then all of the sections as well, but I will be brief on some of the things that are as applicable there. So, Resolution 19-2065, the allocation of student bond surplus funds for Cats Covered. Whereas a survey conducted at Kansas State in 2017 found 44.3% of students qualified as food insecure in the prior academic year. Whereas Cats Cupboard is a vital resource on Kansas State's campus that provides healthy and nutritious food at no cost to students and staff. Whereas Cats Cupboard greatly impacts student life, contributes to the long-range goals of K-State, and brings value to campus, qualifying it to receive an allocation from the bond surplus account. Whereas the 2019-2020 KSU SGA Executive Branch prioritizes providing greater resources to Cats Cupboard. Whereas the university's central administration has recommended the allocation of funds from the bond surplus account. Whereas the bond surplus account currently has $3.43 million in available student bond fees. Whereas the money in the fund has been increasing at a rate between $250,000 and $450,000 per year, which varies based on student enrollment. Whereas these bonds for fiscal year 2020 include $54 per semester for the union renovation and expansion and $52 per semester for the rec complex expansion. Whereas these bonds will be charged from 2015 to 2036 and 2010 to 2040 respectively. Whereas with these bonds, it is required that we charge students more than the actual amount to inhibit any risk for defaulting on these bonds. Whereas all excess bond payment goes into the bond surplus account. Whereas from 2011 through 2017, there were between 1% and 3% projects financed by the bond surplus accounts per year. Whereas from 2018 to 2020, there have been no funds used to finance projects, causing the amount of funds within the account to increase to much higher than is necessary to still retain the level needed for debt service coverage. Whereas in accordance with KSU SGA Statute 300703, bond surplus funds should be utilized on projects that 1. Impact the student body, 2. Contribute to the long-range goals of K-State, and 3. Add value to campus, and have received approval by KSU SGA. And whereas this recommendation has been reached through discussion with the Privilege Fee Committee, General SGA membership, and Central Administration. Be it resolved that Kansas State University Student Governing Association recommends and approves that $80,000 per year for 3 years, with the option to reauthorize the agreement one time for an additional 3 years of funding, be allocated from the Student Privilege Fee Bond Surplus account to Cat's Cupboard for new projects in operational sustainability to enhance access and combat food insecurity. Section 2, KSU SGA requires these monies be reauthorized after 3 years before the end of fiscal year 23 via a resolution passed by Student Senate. The monies will be allocated in increments of $80,000 per year for 3 years starting in fiscal year 21 and concluding at the end of fiscal year 23, unless it is reauthorized by a resolution of Student Senate to continue funding through the end of fiscal year 26. At the end of fiscal year 23, if there's a desire to continue funding for an additional 3 years, Cat's Cupboard must present a plan on how they will become self-sustaining and financially independent from bond surplus monies by the end of fiscal year 26. KSU SGA requires these yearly allocations to be utilized by Cat's Cupboard in 2 sectors that are defined in Section 4 and 5. And those 2 sectors are $30,000 a year for emerging projects and initiatives and $50,000 for operations. Monies designated for emerging projects and initiatives must be used to increase access to food, perishable food collaborations, marketing, outreach, and projects of similar nature. These emerging projects and initiatives may include, but are not restricted to, the following in no particular order: refuel stations across campus, campus partnerships with the Animal Sciences and Industry Department, Milling Science Department, and/or Bakery Science Department to provide perishable food options such as dairy, meat, bread, etc., cooking classes and training for students to learn how to make nutritious, affordable meals, and outreach on SNAP and how to apply for SNAP or similar programs. Monies designated for operations must be used for expenses including, but not limited to, utilities, staff salaries, office expenses, and other materials necessary for operations. Monies not utilized in either of these sectors at the end of the fiscal year will be transferred to the Cat's Cupboard reserve account and may be used at the discretion of the Cat's Cupboard director. Each fiscal year, the director of Cat's Cupboard or their designee must present to Student Senate their complete financial records from all funding sources, including philanthropic contributions, progress on a plan for long-term operational sustainability, and metrics used to measure the productivity of the allocations outlined in this proposal. If at any point in time the outlined requirements are deemed not duly executed, such as improper usage of funds, or if there is a drastic improvement to Cat's Cupboard overall funding that makes them financially sustainable, a resolution may be passed by the Student Senate to terminate this agreement and end all future allocations, and the option to reauthorize funding during fiscal year 23. If the priorities of Cat's Cupboard listed above were to change and a new funding structure requested, the only authority to adjust the funding allotments is dedicated to a resolution presented to KSU SGA and through consultation with Central Administration. Upon passage, this will be sent to the founder and supervisor of Cat's Cupboard, many of the members of the advisory board, Dr. Pat Bosco, Dr. Lane, the CFO, a lot of people who we've been working on this with, and then finally, President Richard B. Myers.
Are there any questions or corrections for the author? Senator Booz.
Thank you, Andrew.
Chief of Staff Polson.
Yes, and I will add that there is about 9 additional authors that are not on this version that have requested to be added, so we will get that done.
Any other questions or corrections for the author? All right.
So I really want to thank you for your time to listen to this entire document with the whereas clauses and the sections. This is something that I think is important to all of us and is a pretty big deal to pull out of bond surplus. It has the opportunity to make a big difference for Cats Covered. We have Sarah Barrett here tonight as well. And throughout the next week, this is going to be going back to privilege fee to send back to Senate. But if you have any questions about this, if you have any concerns, please let us know. And once we come back to Senate next Thursday, feel free to bring your opinions there. But if any questions come before that, please let us know, and we'd be more than happy to answer them, whether it's digging deeper into finances, into bond surplus. There's a lot of moving parts here that has taken weeks to get figured out. And if you want to know more about it, we're more than happy to work with you.
All right, and with that, is there a motion to consider Resolution 66? Senator Oxner. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 66. Author, come forward.
All right, Resolution 192066, a resolution regarding higher education funding in Kansas by Governmental Relations Committee. Whereas, according to an article by CNBC published on October 24, 2019, a college education is the second most expensive investment an individual is likely to make in their lifetime, behind purchasing a home. Whereas, during previous terms, the Kansas State University Student Governing Association legislative advocates have traveled to the Kansas State Capitol on Higher Education Day to champion legislative priorities to state lawmakers. Whereas all of these priorities have emphasized the need to stabilize and reduce the cost of tuition for students attending Kansas Board of Regents institutions. Whereas students from KBOR institutions have advocated for similar priorities over recent years regarding higher education funding and tuition decreases. Whereas, according to the aforementioned CNBC article, in the past decade, the average four-year public university has increased their tuition and fees by 35%. Whereas the cost of attending a university has increased significantly faster than income in the same period of time. Whereas despite the freeze in tuition last year and the $28.6 million increase in higher education funding, the U.S. Department of Education states that the median student loan debt is $22,500. Whereas KSU SGA has expressed a continued desire to help fight against this growing threat to students and the university. Whereas student voices are important and should be heard by those who represent them, and whereas Governor Laura Kelly, her administration, and a bipartisan group of legislators in both the House and Senate share our concerns and support a continued increase to higher education funding, be it resolved that Section 1, the Kansas State University Student Governing Association, calls on Governor Laura Kelly to increase earmarks for higher education for fiscal year 2021. Section 2, KSU SGA also calls on the Kansas legislature to do their part in ensuring that Kansas Board of Regents universities are adequately funded. Section 3, upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the student body president, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to Governor Laura Kelly, Lieutenant Governor Lynn Rogers, Kansas Senate President Susan Wagle, Higher Education Budget Committee Chair Ken Rogers, Higher Education Budget Committee Vice Chair Tom Phillips, Representative Sidney Carlin, Senator Tom Hawk, the Manhattan Mercury, the Topeka Capital Journal, and University President Richard B. Myers.
Questions or corrections? Senator Hines.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Thank you. Further questions or corrections? All right, seeing none, we will now move into second open period. Are there any second open period speakers? Caucus Leader Spellman.
Hi again. I'll make this fast, but I have a couple announcements for voting and K-State civic engagement. So to start, the Next month, there's a couple events coming up. So on Thursday, March 19th, I don't have an exact time yet, but it'll be a community engagement opportunities fair. So that'll be in the courtyard in the Union. It'll serve as an opportunity to have students interact with different organizations across the state, learning more about volunteering opportunities, figuring out ways that you can get more civically engaged, and potentially looking at internship opportunities as well. But that event will be following right before the engagement symposium. So the Center for Engagement and Community Development is hosting the 2020 Engagement Symposium. That is student success and the public good. That will take place on Monday, March 23rd all day, and the first half of Tuesday, March 24th. If anyone is interested, it is free for students with the exception of the lunch on the Monday event. The other thing that I wanted to discuss was an announcement in K-State Today. So I'm not sure if anyone saw K-State Today yesterday, but the university was recognized by the All In Campus Democracy Challenge. We were awarded a silver seal for our work done in 2018. So for those that are not aware of K-State's voter participation, in 2014 it was 15.7% voting rate. In 2018, we increased it by over 20 percentage points to 36%. So K-State got that recognition. That was pretty cool. Last little plug I will leave with you is Wildcats Vote. Thank you for some of the senators and other people that reached out to me. Our meeting will be on Monday, February, yes, next Monday from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. in Union 208. So we will be continuing the all-in conversation, but all are welcome to attend. I stand for questions.
Are there any questions for Caucus Leader Spelman? Chair Booth. For their second open period, Senator Hines.
So the Ranch Rodeo is this weekend, y'all. Tomorrow night at 6:30 and Saturday night at 5:30. $5 at the door. It's in Weber Arena. Yeah. What? But yeah. Any questions?
All right. Questions? For their second open period, Senator Oxner. Any questions? All right. Caucus Leader Glasscock.
So for those who weren't able to celebrate SGA week with us at the Wabash Cannon Bowl for SGA bowlings this week, really fun. Quick update: we have about 10 people, and Haley Stone wanted me to tell you that I did beat her at bowl.
For their second open period, Senator Frederick.
I just wanted to kind of make sure people were aware about a change with counseling services, and that they have gone to a no-fee structure of 8 sessions per semester, and will just be charging for cancellations. It's still set up for short term, but a change in a model that they're testing out this semester. So if you hear students asking, that's a really good thing for lowering that cost for them, so that they can get those services that are needed. So if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to try to answer too.
Let's give a round of applause for Cats Covered. Yeah. For counseling. For their second open period, did you have one? Okay. All right. Senate shoutouts. Senator Snyder. Intern Billman.
Just something real fast. Yesterday, if you noticed on people's Instagrams and stuff, they were posting YSGA posts. Maybe I know it's the day after, but we can still do it and like encourage people to vote. Good idea.
Thank you. Go for it.
All right, Senate shoutouts. Let's see. Happy birthday, Dad. Lane Good Cookies. Cameron, you rock. Shout out to Senator Beasley for getting home on the range, stuck in my head all week. I second that. Shout out to Senator Reichert for thinking it's okay to eat spaghetti during Senate. Shout out to Jeff, Tell's personal coffee runner. Senate shout out to Anna for raising her hand even when she isn't a registered voter. Ouch.
Haley will bring the form to you right now.
ksvotes.org. All right, shout out to all the interns. Good job, interns. Shout out to Ashley for being a friend for a stranger. Shout out to Alan. Yeehaw. SGA's next top model, Rachel Gromez. There's a lot in this folder. It might take a while. This says, Cameron and I are a dynamic duo. Nice tie, Michael.
It's passed. It's an inappropriate time of year to read that one.
Ollie looks good tonight. Shout out to Creighton's hair. Shout out to Cowboy Noah. Strange how a lot of these have very similar handwriting. Rest in peace, Senator Bruce, gone but never forgotten. Andrew Booz, roses are red. The Chiefs won the big game. Take me to prom, or it'd be a big shame. Your secret admirer.
Say yes, Andrew. My response is later in that
Shout out to Blake P for being an epic bowler and an epic intern. Says shout out to Thomas Reichert's Pasta. To Creighton for always asking me to prom, despite my steadfast refusal. Just say yes, Booze. For Blake Phillips, for not being afraid to quickly get involved in many SGA committees and doing great work. Happy birthday, Tell. Shout out to Hannah Heatherman for always looking beautiful as always. Shout out College of Business Caucus. As a non-member of the College of Business, it is very apparent that you guys are superior to the College of Engineering. Go Cats. That one's true. Tell Whitmer for being an excellent ambassador for K-State. Shout out to Madison Brown for working so hard on Big 12 on the Hill and on legislative advocates. Like 6. Shout out to Tell Whitmer. Happy birthday again. So Nick McKee Rice rocks that sweater. Maddie Bowers is incredible. Please date me. Alan looks fine as hell. Shout out to Natalia. You rock. To Mad Dog Bowers for the great presentation. This is the last one. Shout out to Marissa for being beautiful and a positive presence. I love sitting with you.
Okay.
And that is all.
All right, moving into reference of legislation, bills 77 through 79 will be referred to the On-Campus Allocations Committee. Resolution 65 referred to privilege fee. Resolution 66 referred to governmental relations. And with that, we'll move into second roll call.
All right, Al Abdullah, Almadani, Beasley, Belina, Betancourt, Bond, Booz, Bowers, Brincy, Burke, Carlson, Carr, Clark, Clements, Coggeshall, Colsico, Cruz, Dowd, Frederick, Gallardo, Gillespie, Glasscock, Hamlin, Hines, Huffman, Jabin, Jonak, Kelly, Kerprin, Kidd, King, Koger, Kurzweil, Coleman, Lomchek, Lux, Matos, Meinhardt, Moore, Oshner, Orzakowski, Pelton, Peyton, Phillips, Rivera, Rodriguez, Reichert, Seidel, Slechter, Smith, Snyder Ben, Snyder Blaine, Spellman, Wallace, Ward Kelly, Ward Shalin, Watkins, Whitmer, and Zimmerman. And total senators present are 43.
All right, with that, I'll now be seeking a motion to adjourn. Senator Beasley. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. We adjourn. And with that, see you next week. I'll take the folder. Hello? Huh? It is? No. I'm turning it off.